Hello, I'm Brittany Hazelton, and this is Architects Artistry, where we explore the arts in our area. Today, we are I'm showing a conversation I had with an artist and mental health professional named Uriah Oxford. Uriah Oxford is also an artist. Him and his organization, I believe he works with Clint Davis Counseling, are starting to form a new nonprofit focused on providing art therapy. Uriah is an abstract expressionism artist who has used art to heal like many artists. So before I show that interview, I wanted to show a little bit of Uriah's work. Um, so here is Uriah's Instagram, and you can see that he puts a lot of emotion into his art. Now that's a big part of expressionism art, is expressing one's emotions, and we can see just the amazing amount of talent and emotion, very uh, raw feelings go into these kinds of paintings. Um, there's a little bit of video of his art here. All right, and there we go. He works in large scale paintings, and Uriah started school, when in school and high school, focused a lot of his time reading psychology books. He was interested in helping people at a young age, and um, everything he is focused on in this art therapy group um, will be to help others. And he plans to pair artists with mental health professionals in achieving that goal. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show you the interview. It was a great conversation. I hope you enjoy. Hello, I'm Brittany Hazelton, and this is Architects Artistry, where we explore the arts and arts culture in our area. Today we have a guest who is involved in forming a new nonprofit that aims to help the community with arts therapy. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what your role will be with the new organization.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. It's good to be here today with you. And I've been following your work for some time and what you're doing. I'm so excited to see you doing this. So
Oh, thank you.
nice to finally meet you. So Uriah Oxford, and I'm with Clint Davis Counseling, and we do, we do trauma therapy and all the things that are involved with counseling and therapy. And I'm some unofficially, I call myself this, and then my boss is going to laugh when he watches this. But I guess you could say I'm the resident artist on staff. I'm the only artist on staff. That's probably not true, but I'm the only one that does it, publicly and
Yeah,
for a living. So he and
professionally.
he and I are going to be doing a nonprofit called Wild Branches, and the goal is to equip leaders in our community, especially church leaders and membership within the churches, to do more counseling because we're finding that there's just not enough of us to go around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing that for 4 years with him full time, and before that, I worked in the church in various roles, from children all the way up to senior pastor. And it was during those years where, everybody would agree with this. Once you start your career, that's when the stress and everything just begins to bombard you. And you're like, oh, I need some kind of lifeline. And so I turned back to art and became a painter and sculptor. And I'm also a writer and a poet. And the role that I'm going to have in the organization Wild Branches is going to be the arts therapy branch. We're just going to go with that whole tree metaphor, and I'm going to take the arts therapy branch. And what that means is, even I'm a painter and a poet, but I love all things art: film, dance, theater. I used to do theater, so anything art related, culinary arts, anything goes.
Oh, I'm
And
the same way. I'm actually, well, you were mentioning resident artist. I'm kind of the resident artist here as well. Since I've been here, there's been a few people that I've met that were artists, but they haven't been professionally, and some of them didn't even know the arts in our area. But
oh,
I've been trying to push that hard here. So,
yes, I'm so happy that you are. Um, Yeah, we have amazing artists in this area.
yeah.
Let me plug our local artists. I've seen art all over the country and all over the world in galleries, and I say
Mhm.
everywhere I go that our artists uh, can show, and I don't like the word compete, but for lack of a better term, they can show and compete with the best people in the world. I mean, we
Uh,
have that
yeah.
talent in
So Lauren
our.
Smart, the critic, the lead critic, of Critical Mass, she actually told me that our art is compatible with big cities. Like we're capable of standing up with them, you know.
Oh,
So let me go ahead and ask you a few things. You're forming a new nonprofit, and what's this nonprofit's goals going to be?
so what I want to do is, and I've been meeting as many artists and writers, anybody that's doing any kind of art over the past 7 to 8 years. And what I want to do is use y'all, use us, those of us that are artists. Although we may not have training in mental health services, we are the ones that understand that art has been like this healing force in our life.
Hmm.
So vision and the goal is to bring people along that paint, that sculpt, that dance, that cook, that do whatever. I'm also a martial artist and to do workshops. And so I want to pair artists with mental health counselors and therapists and do workshops so that we can teach people in our community how to bring healing into our lives from past trauma, from current trauma, or some people may not have like what we call big T traumas, but most of us are struggling with depression, anxiety at the very, very least. So that's what we
Yeah,
want to do. We want to pair up the artist and the therapist together to do workshops and classes and just all things art.
that's a wonderful idea. Um, So how do you believe, that it'll help others? Like, uh,
Yeah, I love this question. So earlier I was saying, we start our careers and the careers just have a way of uh I want to disappointing us. We all go into our careers in life young and naive, and then once we get in the thing, we're like, wow, there's all the red tape and all the stuff that you have to deal with, and it just becomes very heavy. And for me, and also as one who's had a lot of childhood trauma, and um, art was art and spirituality were the two main things that brought me consistent therapy and I would say healing. I can be in my studio for 8, 9, 10 hours straight and not even know that the time is going by, and I'm just
mhm.
working and working and jumping from one thing to the next, whether it be music, piano, guitar, canvas, sculpture, writing, and I know every artist says this, or and even though those aren't saying this anymore because it's become almost cliche, it is our therapy. It is the
Mhm.
thing that makes us feel better. Like I was just so tired and hangry and overwhelmed yesterday, and I laid a big canvas out in the grass, and I just started walking on the paint and painting and just throwing paint, and it just made me feel so good and connected to my body again. And what I love about art is that once you're in it, there's a part of you that's engaged, but then there's that part of your brain that doesn't seem to be engaged. And that's when the creativity floats up. But also for me, some of the repressed or suppressed memories that I had from childhood trauma began to float up. And I was
Mhm.
able to put them on the canvas or put them on the page and just look at them and begin to process and tease those things out, you know. And I've done a lot of counsel. I'm a counselor, but I've been in counseling a lot. And for me, I've found that just that creative process where the brain is almost, I don't have a good word for it, but it's almost hacked or
Like a healing stasis in a moment. You know, you're so
yeah,
focused on something.
sure. For sure, but it's almost like there's a bypass that goes on where
Mhm.
you're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm doing therapy right now. I've got to concentrate on it. It's just everything just becomes open and free, and the
Exactly.
body, the brain begins to naturally do the work
Mhm.
for you, which
Oh
I
yeah.
believe is totally possible. And science tells us that. All religions have been telling us that all all of our life, and all philosophies have told us that the body does have the capacity to heal itself, and I believe it's can be best done through art.
I can say for a fact that you know, I can relate completely to what you're saying. I went through a lot of trauma as
Mm.
when I was younger. And honestly, I don't think I would have survived without being an artist. Like
Yeah,
I escaped it, like even as a child, I was escaping into my own
yeah,
realities and imagining my own things.
yeah,
And then
yes,
that's how art started. Is I started drawing what I was imagining, and then
yes.
painting, and I self-taught myself all of it,
Hmm.
just because I needed it, and I think it would be beneficial to the normal person who doesn't think of themselves as an artist, and they can find that artist inside
Yeah,
of them and help themselves heal. I get that completely.
yeah, you probably have the same conversation that I have daily when people are like, "Oh, what do you do?" Well, I'm an artist, and they're, "Oh gosh, I'm the least artistic person,"
Every
or "I
time.
could never do that. I could never do that." And I always gently push back on that. I was like, "No, you just haven't figured out how to do that
Oh
yet. You
yeah.
found your niche yet." And yeah, I'm
Yeah,
self-taught too.
I always tell people, it's like, you may think you're not an artist, but
Hmm.
you can be an artist in so many ways,
Yes,
and it only takes trying and practicing and not giving up, and you could become whatever kind of artist you want, if you want. And like even something like I have a colleague, and he's gonna be our big interview for this month. He said, my family was artists. They cook, they dance, they would sing it, and they would just, even in playing around and just existing together, just parenting even is an art to him, you
yes,
know.
you took it right out of my mouth. Yes, yes. Some mothers and fathers are creative parenting. That's something that I communicate with my clients all the time. Like, okay, you might not ever paint or even be a good cook as a mom, but look at what you can do and how you can mold this
Hmm.
child's soul. I mean, we need more of that.
It's like it's sculpting in a way.
Yeah,
It's like sculpting
that's
a
cool.
person's, their personality, their morals, and who they'll be. But uh,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
okay, so let's see. You actually answered a lot of my questions. So who do you think will benefit most? Like, what kind of people do you expect will seek this kind of counseling?
Um, of course, I'm going to say everybody that's because I believe that. Um, I, but what's coming in my mind right now is those who maybe tried traditional modalities of talk therapy or even things like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and some of the other popular modalities that were good, but maybe they've come to like this impasse where they're like, okay, I know I still have more healing to do, but I need another way to do that. So uh, people that are have done counseling and have had success and believe in counseling, I think those would really benefit by taking that next step and jumping in and trying something like drawing or writing or painting or dance or music. Um, and then, always I want to always talk to those to you know those who've gone through what we call big T traumas or even small T
Hmm.
traumas. I know it's all relative because of what trauma does to the brain. The brain has this defense mechanism where it just blocks out and suppresses and represses things.
Mm-hmm.
There's a modality called EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And I'm not certified to do that, but what I've discovered is that in painting and drawing, you have a it's like you have this built-in tool where like I said earlier, it just unlocks things in the brain that get stuck down and repressed from trauma. So uh, people that have trauma and that have those so-called stuck points, in their mind and their heart, that's definitely, to me, those are the best candidates.
Okay. Well, thank you. That sounds interesting. I think I've actually heard of that therapy that you mentioned, the eye
Mhm.
movement. I need to look more into it because
Yeah,
I'm
it's
always.
fascinating. It gets the right and the left brain in conversation with one another so that the
Oh,
things that are compartmentalized in one place, they're able to come over and then be processed and then integrated, and that leads towards healing. So,
okay.
and to me, painting and music has been like a form of EMDR. And again, I'm not certified to teach that. There are people in our practice that have those certifications that could answer and talk more about that.
Okay. Well, I always loved psychology as a child. I read a lot of psychology. Like, I would
It's,
find college textbooks at Goodwill, and I would just start reading them.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
I would skip class, go to the library, and read psychology books. Like in high school, it's such a dork.
I was the same way. So I can.
But I was trying to find answers, probably like you. I was trying, okay, I know that there's something going on up here that doesn't seem quite right.
Mhm.
Maybe something in psychology will help me with that. And psychology has definitely been a tool in my life to help me towards healing.
Yeah, same. Very much the same. Okay, so you said you're an artist. So tell us about your art.
Okay, well, I started out, I fell in love with the so-called abstract expressionist movement, the New York school. A lot of people will recognize the name Jackson Pollock. So,
Oh
like
yeah.
newbies, we start off throwing and dripping paint like Pollock, and then we move on and we find our own way. But it was just something about being in the backyard, moving paint around with no rules. I mean,
Mm,
that is what I really, really love about abstract expressionism is that the rules are just what is in your psychology and what you're feeling. Now, I draw and do illustrations with pen and so on and so forth, but there's something about just having that space with no rules where it's all emotion and color and shape and so on and so forth that I really love the most. And because there's no rules, I think that that's given me the space to kind of get out of my own way to let my
mhm.
body and my brain do the things that it wanted to do for expression, for fun, but also for self discovery. So honestly, I got into painting because I heard that that's what the New York school was doing psychology, Jungian
Oh.
psychology themselves. I was like, okay, I want to do that. So I went down that road and started doing it, and that was 25 years ago, and I haven't stopped. And I like to do. There's a piece right here in the background. I like to
That's
do
pretty.
large scale pieces, just so I feel like I'm in that world or in that space. I
Mm.
do smaller pieces, but I don't get as much satisfaction out of those. So really, again, like every artist says, it's all about emotion, all about feeling. And I approach the canvas with no presuppositions, no ideas. Most of the time, I just pick up what's laying on the floor closest to me and I just throw it at the canvas.
Nice.
And whatever mark it makes, I just start with that mark and I just put the music on and I go and go and go. And I'll listen to various genres while I'm painting. So I'll be in reggae, classical, hip hop, hard rock, whatever, because I want all those different parts of myself to have it say on the canvas, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. So for me, music, I have a playlist specifically. My playlists are built so that they can
Mm.
keep me in this state and bring me
Yes.
different emotions while I'm
Just
going.
share some playlist. I have some amazing playlists I'd love to share with you, and I'd love to see some.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great. Also, definitely, I love that it's like what you're describing is like a meditative state
That's
of going through emotions.
the best word,
That's
meditative
great.
state.
For
That's the
me,
best.
like when I'm drawing a character, like I'm playing in my head scenarios and like the scene, and I'm diving into the character's personalities
Yeah.
and who they are, and like for me, all of them are they have a deep history because me and my husband we rewrite them.
Mm.
We write stories about
Yeah.
them, and they
Yeah.
have like character interaction. It's like role play writing. It's what we
Yeah,
do.
I did that. I was in theater, and when inevitably, when you get into theater and acting, you hear about method acting, the Stanislavski method, and I'll use that method in I'll be having conversations like with Picasso and Matisse, like they're in their
Hmm.
and sometimes I am Picasso, and sometimes I'm Matisse, and sometimes I'm wrestling, between the two and painting and destroying based on what the other one said. So it's all play, it's
Hmm. It
much
is.
play, and it's oh gosh, it's the best thing ever. I don't have to tell you.
No, you don't have to. I get it completely. My husband has a theater background as well. So
Oh,
so for him, he went like for me, I was by myself kind of writing stories for people. And then when he came along, we both were writing stories for each other and for people.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, okay, so um how can an interested artist get involved with your new organization coming up?
I'm going to be reaching out to people that I know right now, but as of right now, I'm most active on Facebook. I'm active some on Instagram, but right now I'm just meeting people. I'm just out in the. I'm pretty much a hermit and an introvert, but now that I have this vision, if you will, I know that it's much bigger than me and much bigger than my boss. And I don't want it to be just about me and what I'm doing. People, not everybody connects with what I do, and really, I just want to elevate other artists and I want it to be twofold. Use the artist's skills and gifts to teach people that need healing, but also to elevate them in their career so that people can see what they're doing because we have to pay the bills too. So right now we're still in the vision casting paperwork stage, and we're
Hmm.
looking for space because I want to start what's going to be called an arts therapy center, where people
Yeah.
can come and all of these things in the workshops and so on and so forth. So my socials on Facebook are Uriah Oxford Media, and on Instagram, if you just look up Uriah Oxford, you'll find me. And
Okay.
just right now, reaching out and connecting with me through social media. I'll be out and about at most of the art events around town that I can make it to, and just be introducing myself. So really, I'm going to be out there seeking and looking for people, and also just letting God and the universe bring people to me. So
That's
that's what it looks like
wonderful.
right now.
Okay, so we'll definitely have to do more conversations like this as you guys are moving through the process so we can keep up to date with where you are and getting everything set up, especially once you get a building and everything. We'll have to talk more. Um
Yeah,
so so you're welcome to reach out to me anytime you want to do more interviews like this.
I'd love to have you come to the building and us do a live podcast maybe at the building.
That'd be great. Yeah, I do monthly, a long, big monthly interview with an artist. We could definitely do your art and everything you do at that point,
Well, my
probably.
heart's big, but I'm not so big, but maybe one day that'll change.
Ah, it's okay. It- every artist just needs a spotlight. The reason I started these was because I thought about Andy Warhol and everything, and how they put cameras on them, and people got to know the artist and the art.
Yeah,
Sometimes people see the art and they don't know the artist, and
yeah,
and, and sometimes knowing the artist is what turns somebody to
exactly,
collecting an artist,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
and that's kind
and
of my
sometimes
goal.
and sometimes it's also the opposite. I've met artists and I'm just that I liked and after I've met them I was like, ooh, I really don't want their art anymore.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
more time I don't mean to make it negative, but more times than not, yes, you're right. It like people buy stories is what they do. They
yeah.
buy your story. They buy the parts of you that they connect with. So
Oh yeah,
thank
and
you so much
I
for
always feel like artists are unique, even if it's like in a way that we as artists may not like another artist, but I think every artist is unique.
hmm
Like we're all very strange or different people,
yeah,
but I think like it's a lot of personality that can be captured.
yes,
No matter what, there's a personality there.
absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers?
No, I mean, other than just thank you for what you're doing, giving us a forum and being our champion. I mean, I just can't say thank you enough.
Oh,
So keep up the good work.
well, thank you. That means a lot to hear because that's the main reason I got I started here, as I wanted to have a platform to help people in like the art community. So that means a lot to hear. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Take care.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Brittany.
So that was our Architects Artistry for today. Next weekend, I will have the long form interview with an artist named Steve Zalowski. He is a Bossier City surreal, abstract, and nature artist. He uses mixed media and he uses materials from his throwaway materials from construction sites to create his art, upcycling them. He's also known for amazing murals. So um, I'll see you next week. If you want to see more long form interviews or our Zoom interviews, check out Architects Artistry under the Community tab on KSLA. You can also find more of these interviews on KSLA News 12 Now and on Roku, Apple TV, YouTube, and occasionally I post them on Facebook as well. So thank you so much for watching.